can't, it crushes me when I see people succeeding financially and people in the comments being like, well, it's because of this, or I can't do this because like that mentality is not going to get you anywhere. And
Mm.
I got married 2 years after I graduated from nursing school, and my husband didn't have any debt and he could do stuff with his paychecks. And my paychecks were all going to Visa, MasterCard because the debt life was for me. Okay. And
Right.
so I was like, oh, like this is a different way to live. Okay, let me just see what that's like. So I actually started being a little bit more intentional with money then. And we started to like be more mindful together in terms of how we spend our money so that we could go on vacations, not worried about the debt hanging over us when we get back, that thing. And then what really cinched it for me though, second lesson, was when in 2018, I was just looking at my overall money picture. Even just my bank account. I'm like, this don't look like a nurse bank account. If somebody were to say nurse, they associate that with richness. And I'm like, that account don't look rich. And that's because I knew very little about growing my money. At this point, I was okay with saving some, spending a little bit better, but not yet growing my money. So then I started listening to Her Money podcast by Jean Chatzky. She had Brad and Jonathan from Choose Fi on. Maxing out retirement. Who ever talked about that? I've never heard of that concept before then. It's like, you're supposed to put money in retirement, but what's maxing it out about? What's having a fine number? What is all this? And so like, that's when I started like just having more of a future vision for my money. I was like, oh, that's what I'm missing. So I think in terms of like a lesson to learn is like really looking at people ahead of you, and rather than like be like, well, I can't do that, or their story is different. Brad and Jonathan are two white guys, okay? Their story can be far any more different than mine, right? So I'm like, but instead of saying like, that's not for me, I'm like, what in their story could I take and apply to me and adapt to make my story? And I think that that's one limiting belief I want to break. It crushes me when I see people succeeding financially and people in the comments being like, well, it's because of this, or I can't do this because like that mentality is not going to get you anywhere. So to me, I'm like, one thing it's been a through line through my life, like even going to nursing school, like I went to Rutgers. There was very few people that were chosen for the program. And I learned how many people applied and how many people got it. I was like, Lord, I have no clue how I got here. But it empowered me to feel like nothing is impossible for me. That's a choice. Like if I don't want to do something, it's because I don't want to, not because I have some limitation that is put on me.
So what are your
believe in
thoughts on?
yourself.
No, I love it because one of the things that I think Anthony Mackie was talking about was that success is chosen.
I do believe that because I see like there's always going to be circumstances, but you'll see how two people could be put in the same circumstance and how they react differently. That's very much dependent on mindset. I was actually even working on a video where we're talking about how like when somebody, like let's say two people in the same situation are struggling to save, but the one person has a pessimistic view of, let's say, like has a pessimistic view of their finances while the other person has a optimistic view. They come across $20 some way. The person who's pessimistic is like, well, that's only $20. So I'm just going to spend it. Versus the person who's optimistic would be like, whoa, thank God I found this $20. Let me go save it. So like your mentality, which is something I didn't expect. I'm a very practical, logical person. I did not know that mindset played such a role into money until I really started getting to learn about it and how other people function. I'm like, wow,